It's been really interesting to hear all the stories earlier on, mostly of the products. Some people have talked about how they bring that product to market, but in the main, most of the conversation today has been about the products themselves. It's not sold until it's paid for, okay? And there's a big gap between creating a product and selling it. And I have seen some really, really shocking cases of communicating sustainability in a way that just really doesn't make any sense. Put it this way, how many of you put on your website, we sell local food whenever possible? Do you think on the day that I got married to my wife, if I had said on our wedding vows, darling, I'll be a good husband whenever possible, I would still be married today? I think she would have run a mile. I think you need to put a little bit more passion and more conviction into your text, okay? I recently spent some time, I'm very bored academic by the sound of things, looking at 1,835 sustainability messages on the companies that have actually won the recent Responsible Tourism Awards. We found 95% of those messages were passive, only 5% were active. By that I mean, in 95% of the cases, you told us something you do, but you never involved your customers. In only 6% of the cases, the customer could experience the difference. The rest of the things you communicated were things were happening behind the scenes. In 99% of the cases, you didn't involve others. You didn't use what we called social norms. Only in one case they did. And yet we found evidence, for example, from the towel reusage programs, that when you say to customers, most customers that have stayed in this bedroom reuse their towels, the number of people reusing the towels nearly doubles. Okay? There's a whole range of persuasive communication tools and techniques that you can use based on the concept of positive psychology that make a fantastic difference in closing those deals. When somebody went along to L'Oreal and said the slogan is going to be because you're worth it, trust me, they paid good money because a slogan like that made a big difference. It's not just some random words. Retrospectively, you can say, I could have said that. Well, no, you couldn't, actually, because to come up with that, with everything that came with it, you had to be really, really clever. And to sell products today, you still have to be quite clever about it. Okay? So there's massive, massive business opportunities in turning your products that look quite good as a product into an offer that the customer understands and wants to buy. I produced a document called Keep It Real for Visit England. 2 years later, I produced it for Fall to Ireland. If you haven't seen it, it helps you think how to market and communicate sustainability. If you haven't seen it, it's been out for 2 years, so somebody hasn't really been doing their homework. And I don't mean you, I mean the people that should have let the businesses know that the product is there. But we're going to put it on the ICRT website and it gets distributed a bit more. If you think you already know the Irish case studies, that's fine. You can find the Welsh case studies, or you can find the South African case studies. And if you're fed up with all those, if you go to my website, now there's more than 100 case studies from a variety of countries. And besides the case studies, there's other examples on basically how to sell. And this is not just selling by saying my product is sustainable, because frankly, that sucks, but it's selling by finding a way that your customers really want to understand it. So pretty much every 3-syllable word you've heard today, any of the long words, any of the words that the environmental police will be interested in, bin them, okay? Never, ever use those on your website, because your customers are not members of Amnesty International or Greenpeace. They're normal people that go to work Monday to Friday, and when it comes to Saturday, they want a day off, okay? And they say, frankly, I've worked really hard all week to deserve a weekend that is guilt-free. And if you give me another self-catering cottage with 9 recycling bins, which is what I found last time I came to Killarney, okay, I'll just be frightened, okay? It'll just be really demoralizing. The cottage where I stayed with my wife, she basically said, Xavier, you're going to be found out. They know you're a sustainable tourism guru. There's going to be photos all over the social media about how you put things in the wrong bin, okay? We collected all our rubbish after a week and we took it home to Leeds, okay? Just so I could not be found out for doing the wrong thing, okay? Sometimes you are so eco, you're scary, okay? So do all the eco stuff, but think really, really carefully why you're doing it, okay? You have to figure out who your target audience is, and you have to be clear who your messages are for. Think about it. There's a lot of data from Visit England and others that basically say when two products are just as good in quality, price, location, 50% of customers will choose the one that is environmentally friendly. Bullshit. Sorry. Actually, on that same survey, we found other things that the tourist boards never tell you. 46% of people just say, you know what? I'm on holiday. I just want to relax. I want you to do the work for me because I'm paying. Right? 33% think that when you say you're sustainable, you're just a cheapskate. Okay? All you want to do is save money. Really environmentally friendly building, this one, you know, never mind the 18 degrees, it's all good for the environment. All right? You know, it's we keep the heating down, you know, down not because it's going to cost us money. You know, we're not tight around here. You know, we're doing it because it's good for planet Earth. Rubbish. Okay? 15% of your customers think that when you say that you're sustainable, your hotel will be less comfortable than one that is not sustainable. So every time you use the big S word, sustainability, not the other one, you're basically scaring your customers, or at least a good percentage of them. You need to find a way around of communicating this a lot better. I remember a business in Lancashire, in England, that basically put on their website, from now on, the hot water in your showers is going to be heated by solar panels. And the winter bookings went down. Customers thought I'm going to have cold showers. We changed the wording with my help, and now it says you'll have hot water faster, more reliable because it comes preheated by the solar panels before it goes to the boiler. The bookings went back to where they should be. Another business basically said, actually in Wales, one of your businesses, you know, in the Brecon Beacons, on their website they said, we're really proud that we've reduced our landfill by 12 tons per year and now we treat it in our garden. Right? What's the impression you're giving? It's a dump. Okay? I changed the text for them and now it says, my client asked why our flowers look much more beautiful than they're on in their garden. The key is the 12 tons of composting. Never ever write a message where the beginning of the sentence is a sustainability action and maybe at the end you remember to say to the customer what's in it for them. The beginning of the sentence has to be what's good for the customer. And if the customer dares to ask, put it at the end, what did you do from a sustainability point of view to achieve it? The way you write sentences is really, really important. Okay? The advertising people get paid stupid amounts of money and they spend a lot of time doing that. You will not ever again let your chief engineer of your hotel mess you with sustainability campaign in the same way you will not let the people in charge of advertising your hotel mess with the boiler of your hotel. They are two separate jobs. This is a particular business in Spain that I know where their entire slogan everywhere is, why don't you go by bike? It's 6 kilometers away from the beach, and they basically said, our main business now is not summer sun holidays, even though this is near Barcelona. Our main business is shoulder season holidays, or what we used to call shoulder season. Customers come the first time to come to the beach, and we tell them, don't go by car, it's crowded, there's no parking. You're going to get all that sand from the sea back in your car. The first time you come, we'll let you have a bike for free. Put you like a hamper with your lunch. They say they make money in 3 ways. They rent the bikes, they sell lunches, and people have been cycling half the day come back and have dinner at the hotel rather than going out. Their seasonality is far, far lower than anybody else's. They're telling me they've got 70 to 80% occupancy from February, March until November. Great. All their competitors are still asking why. It's entirely flat. Okay, it's very, very easy to go to the beach. But they're now finding that more than 50% of the customers that come and stay with them bring their bikes already. Okay, and the level of loyalty is fantastic. They have the solar panels, their swimming pool uses salted water as opposed to chlorine, whatever. None of that is on their website. That gets told as a story once you get there. Once you've made a human connection, you can use all sorts of other things to communicate afterwards. Which brings me to the question, I've now interviewed over 100 companies like yourselves that work on sustainability. And I quite often ask them the question, why do you tell your customers that you are sustainable? And they look puzzled and they say, well, I tell them because I am. But frankly, I am a lot of things I will not tell you. Okay? So the key to it is in marketing, you never ever tell your customer a message without having first figured out the purpose of why you're telling them that message. Okay? This is marketing 101. Go back to university. Okay? Come and take one of my quick weekend courses in Leeds if you want to. First reason why you may want to tell them. I want to tell the customers that my product is sustainable simply because I want my customers to feel good. I am not going to ask my customer to do anything else. I've done all the work, you pay, I'm just going to reassure you the product is better. And quite often the best example of that is telling your customers where your food came from. Oh, we're in trouble, 5 minutes. Right, I'll speak faster than ever. I'll skip the case studies. Tell them that where your food came from, and your customer is still eating exactly the same food, but by knowing where it came from, it feels better, it tastes better. Second one, you may tell them to raise awareness and try and change their behavior. Whenever you try to change somebody else's behavior, you really have to tell them what is it they're going to get in return. You don't change people's behavior by saying, you do something and I don't offer anything back. Third one, you may tell them you're sustainable because you want to offer them something extra. You still want them to buy the core product they bought so far. What you're doing here is a product extension, an additional expenditure, okay, as a way of extending the stay, or at least selling more products within the same stay. And the fourth one, and many people try to start a house by the roof, which is get more customers. What I'd say is get good at doing the first three, and then come back to talk to me, and then we'll do the fourth one together. Okay. As I said, I'll have to skip something if I've got 5 minutes only. So the case studies will be all in my website. Anyway, what do I exactly tell my customer? Never, ever again tell your customer I'm sustainable. For the same reason, you don't tell your customer I'm a fully accessible hotel. It's never true, is it? None of us are sustainable. None. End of. However many awards we've got, there's always something that we're going to be found out for. So the key to it for me is you have to turn it into something that your customer really values. So tell me how I will have more fun on my holiday because there's some sustainable products. Tell me how you can offer me better service because I've got sustainable products. Tell me how you're selling me tradition, nostalgia, one of the values that really has gone up the most since 2008, 2010. Okay, go back to basics. Tell me how you're selling me empathy, how I can trust in you. Okay. And tell me how all of those are delivered through sustainability. But sustainability is never the end. Sustainability is the means to giving your customer something that the customer wanted in the first place. To do that, you need to understand your customers a lot better, which basically you're not doing. This sounds fantastic for me. No smoking, it makes your breath smell and your teeth go horrid, as well as being a danger to the people who live in the forest. These guys were brilliant not only because they wrote a really clever sign. You know, can you imagine a council writing a sign like that? No way. Okay, this was written by people who understood the target market, which was families. The bastards did even better than that. Sorry about the word. Instead of writing it and putting it at this height where the parents can see it, they put it at this height where the children could see it. Okay, and the kids start going, you smell. Look, you know, show me your teeth. Are they really horrid? The best police for parents is children. Okay, so figure out a way of communicating that will make sense for your target market, which basically means one size fits all. No, never again. Where do I tell? You've got all sorts of places to communicate sustainability. In every single one of these communication channels, you have to use different methods and different messages. Okay, they have to be consistent because they'll relate to your product. But if all you say in every single one of those places is, I have a certificate or I am sustainable, you're doomed. Okay, it's not surprising your customers don't react. You use certification and awards to say certain kind of things. You use online and offline press to say different things. You're going to use your website for different messages, social media for others, online distribution channels for others. The key to it is that the way you communicate in each one of those changes, therefore your sustainability message also has to change. Okay, so we'll use a lot of those. I was going to use the jury as an example to show how basically on the request for products for business-to-business marketing to corporate companies, basically now having certification is just pretty much essential. Today on business-to-business marketing, you have no choice but to be certified because it's been requested of you all the time. On business-to-consumer, certification is less meaningful right now. It's still useful as a way of being able to say, everything else I'll say on my website, you can trust it because somebody has independently assessed it. So the value of the certificate is not the certificate says I'm really good, but the certificate validates all the other ways of communicating you're going to use for your customer. And finally, when do I tell? Because I realize my 5 minutes are up. Okay, when do I tell? Think about it. Your customers need different information about you at each one of those points in their customer journey. Never in any one of those 5 points, they need to know that you're sustainable, do they? Before they book, they need to know certain things about you that will help them book. The fact that you have a sustainability logo may not be one of them, unless you are IKEA, Coca-Cola, Danone, and one of the blue chip companies. The information your customers need about you once they've decided they're going to come and stay with you, but haven't yet traveled to you, is different. The information they need when they arrive is different. What you need to really figure out is, of the 50 different sustainability actions that you take, which one of those is useful as information to help my customer know what they could do next. Okay? So you should keep a booklet in your business that's called If Only I Had Known. And every time that your customer says, oh, you do this? If only I had known. Write it there. And it basically means you should have told them at the previous stage in the customer journey. We've got more time, hopefully another time, but not today, I'm afraid. We ran some workshops a couple of years ago, actually, funded by Fawlty Ireland on this topic. It was very disappointing to me, two things. One was that I've now analyzed over 400 websites of sustainability companies, and the 50 analyzed in Ireland were of considerably worse quality than the 350 I've analyzed elsewhere in Europe and outside Europe. So that's for one. And the second thing that really disappointed me is that in one of the workshops organized in Killarney, actually only 3 businesses turned up, which seems to me that we've got a lot of work to do in raising the awareness that sustainability management is important, but sustainability marketing is the way of closing the deal. And until you've sold it, you're still not a business in profit. Thanks.